A viewer asks, I can't find the video about completion, possession, and adjustment dates. Can I have the link, please? No, you can't. And the reason you can't is because, well, I haven't made it yet. Maybe that's only half true. I have spoken about them before in my seller's guide and a few different videos. But so far, I have never made a video dedicated specifically to this confusing topic until now. So if you're looking to buy a property in BC and you don't yet understand the wacky way that we time the closings of our properties here in the province, or more likely if you're looking to sell your current home and buy a new property and you don't quite understand how it's all going to line up so that you don't end up with your whole life in a moving truck overnight, well, then this video and channel are for you. So please subscribe to the channel so I can help you with your real estate education here about my local market of Surrey and the Fraser Valley. And if you think it's a good idea and want more people to educate themselves about Canadian real estate, please go ahead and click the like button for the YouTube algorithm so more people just like you get to see this video. And if you're looking for a property or you want to learn if my team has the right stuff to get your property sold in today's market, well, you can book a call with me right now using the link in the description below at a time that works best for you. And now let's get on to the dates in a contract of purchase and sale so you don't end up screwing them up. The first thing that you have to know is, more importantly than the day that you're writing the offer, accepting the offer, the final acceptance date, or the subject removal date, really there are three major dates in the contract that will matter most to you in regards to your purchase or sale actually closing. So let's get those first four dates out of the way because those have to do with getting your offer accepted. Because there are three more dates that have everything to do with the actual closing of your sale. Think of this as kind of the holy trinity of dates. Each one plays a crucial role in transferring the title from one owner to the next. First up, the completion date. This is D-Day, or the day the property actually transfers from the seller to the buyer. And this is also the day that all of the money changes hands. First off, you'll want to know that the completion dates are usually something like 60 or 90 days from the time the offer is accepted, but they are completely negotiable in the offer process. So a closing closer to, say, 30 days is really quick. And if you want to close more than 120 days out, you had better be very careful because most mortgage rates are held for the buyer for a maximum of about 120, maybe 130 days, depending on the institution. And if you want to go a very long time before you complete, you might end up in trouble because you will probably have to requalify for your property all over again. And well, if rates go up, that could be a problem. So if you're a seller, remember this. A buyer might say to you that they will give you a 6-month close, but that might actually not be the best thing for you. Because yes, if rates were to go up, it could spell disaster. And here's a pro tip. If you can avoid it, don't complete your sale on a Friday. Because if anything goes wrong on a Friday, and every once in a while a closing will be delayed by a day or so, well, the lawyers, lenders, and land title are all closed on Saturday and Sunday. So there is no room for error, and you might be setting up shop in an Airbnb for the weekend. Next up is the possession date. This is the date and specific time listed in the contract when the seller is scheduled to give their keys to the buyer, kinda. Because in some provinces, the buyer gets keys from the lawyers. But here in BC, it's most often that the seller will pass keys to their agent, then their agent will pass the keys to the buyer's agent, and the buyer will receive the keys to the property from their agent. And they will likely, upon possession, do some sort of walk around the property to make sure everything's in order. So in BC, expect that if you're a buyer, you're most likely going to get your keys from your agent. And this is really, really convenient because you want to make sure that your agent brings you a very nice housewarming gift. Now, the course that we all take as real estate agents teaches us to give 1 day after completion to allow for possession. This then allows completion to make sure it happens no matter what time on the previous day, and then we can hand out keys no problem the next. But in my experience of things that can go wrong in the business of real estate, I want my properties to close midweek and not ideally give keys until the weekend. This is super convenient to make sure that home sales can line up if you're selling and then buying again. We don't want you to move your whole life into a moving truck and then have it sit outside the Motel 6 for even a single night, let alone a full weekend. So say, for instance, you're selling your home. We probably want the completion of your home to say, I don't know, happen on a Wednesday. And then you would complete on your new home on Thursday. Then there's a chance that this is going to end up in a domino, and the person that you just purchased your home from may have to also close on a Friday, which I don't recommend, but hey, they're not my client. And then because many agents do follow what they were taught in school, it's pretty easy for us to get our keys to the new place on Saturday and then not have to give up ideally your keys for your old place until Sunday. This gives you a very nice 24-hour move with both properties, and it gives you the ability to clean and not run into any problems of maybe other owners moving out a little slower than they had planned while they're trying to pack up those last few boxes. One quick note about completion and possession. As I said, normally I try and put those dates between 2 and 5 days apart for a smooth transition. But new agents want to, again, put them back to back because the course says that's what's best, but you may want to spread them apart even more. For example, if the seller doesn't want to leave until the 15th of the month, but your rate hold expires on your ultra low mortgage rate on the 3rd of the month, it might be wise to close 12 days in advance and let the sellers stay in the home for that whole time, for the benefit of you, the buyer, receiving a much lower mortgage payment for the coming 5-year term. And for the love of God, you own the property on the completion date as the buyer. So insure the property on that day, even though the seller may not be handing over keys for another 1 to 4 days after. And if you're the seller, keep your insurance valid all the way through the possession date. This would give double coverage insurance. Could you imagine if something terrible did happen between completion and possession? One party owns the home, the other one is living in it, something goes wrong, and well, that could be a liability mess. And lastly, there is the adjustment date. This is all about fairness and ensuring that the sellers and buyers only pay for what they used. Think property taxes, utility bills, or condo fees. The adjustment date is usually the same as the possession date, and it ensures that the expenses are divided accurately between both the seller and buyer, down to the exact day and penny. So for example, you've already paid your property taxes on July 2nd of this year, and you're moving out on September 30th. The buyer will adjust the payment paid to you in total through the lawyers to pay back the portion of taxes from October, November, and December that, well, you have already paid. Same goes for city utilities and strata fees. And remember this, if you, or God forbid, your agent doesn't line up these dates correctly, well, that could quite literally have you sleeping in your moving truck overnight waiting for your new home. And if all this feels like a whole lot and you feel like you might need help navigating the current market here in Surrey and the Fraser Valley, you can book a call with me using the link in the description below at a time that works best for you. Thank you for subscribing, clicking the like button, and we'll see you in a couple of days.